let's catch up again. Yeah. Praise the Lord.
Pastor, can I ask one last quick question?
Okay, go ahead, please.
So in the Old Testament, it's not related actually, but since we're talking about angels, in the Old Testament, there is not really a concept of hell discussed. Am I correct? Only the New Testament, right?
Yeah.
Is correct? Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And then also that sons, children of darkness and these kind of things. Jesus never talk about, but in the Bible, New Testament, Jesus talk about that. Usually that's a Jesus word. So that's why people believe that Jesus met the essence. The essence group. That's one of the Jewish groups that ran away, crossed the Jordan River, and then lived in the desert, that area. And then John the Baptist probably went there, and that's a theory. But yeah, okay. Somebody raise a hand. Oh, Edward, yeah. Oh, brother Edward, Rwanda. Yeah, you have a question?
Yes, Professor. The brother who has just asked about angels and the right of angels, I seen Isaiah 14, verse 11 to 20. He talks of Lucifer took a decision to present his kingdom above the clouds and to compete with God. Yet in Ezekiel 28, verse 12 to 19, it describes how Lucifer or Satan was a cherub, a covering angel. More particularly, verse 14, he was anointed and was a covering angel. And we see this cherub was also the angel that was put around the tree in the garden. So angels that we see from these two texts, even Revelations 12, verse 7 to 12, we see angels can take a decision even above what God had given them to do, because cherub is a covering angel and is the fallen angel that took the names Lucifer, Satan, the old serpent. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you for your comment. By the way, I'm sorry that to hear of the brother Wakanda. We keep on praying for your family. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Still, we argue that these things, whether this is the name of the angel, the head of the Satan, or that Lucifer is, or actually some other pointed. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about. We can talk about that more deeply when we in the Christian philosophy class. Okay. Yeah. So let's move on. I'm sorry that we have to cover a lot. Yeah. Islam eschatology. Many Muslims anticipate the end of days is here or will be here soon. So here, most of the countries surveyed in the Middle East, North Africa, and South Asia have more Muslims believe that they will personally witness the appearance of the Mahdi. So why I said this way is that even Muslims also, I saw that the Messiah. We Christians, yeah, I do have experience that Jesus came to me. So far I met twice. He not met. He visited me twice. So I know personally that Jesus exists. And when he came and he touched me, my body was really so hard at the time. I was crazy. But the Muslims also, they do have this kind of experience. And they call them Mahdi, messianic figure, like we have like Jesus. Yeah. And the day of the judgment, the Mahdi will come. And this kind of, so that those who are in the deal with Muslims in Afghanistan and Iraq, Tunisia, and Malaysia, like maybe in Singapore also, that the Muslims, they do experience, they believe that at the end, the Mahdi will come. But their eschatology is this. For Sunnis, I said almost 90% of the Muslims, the Mahdi is not yet here. So this is very similar to the pre-millennium in our Christian theology. And for the most Shiites, the Mahdi has already been born, but is now hidden. And when he reveals himself, justice will prevail. So it's like our millennium. Yeah. Or some people say that, Jesus, already the millennium started. It's like that. So does it make sense to you? The Mahdi, they said, but it's a little bit different. The Sunni, they believe that Mahdi is not come yet. So he will come and he will judge the whole world. But Shia, they say, well, Mahdi is already here. And he's waiting the judgment time. Yeah. So I wrote down here that I don't want to cover everything, but historical things that, why the eschatology in Muslim is really sometimes make a very violent to them. Yeah. So like 1979 Iran revolution, the Ayatollah Khomeini, right, considers by some Shiites to be an early sign of the Mahdi's appearance. Yeah. So we Christians believe that Jesus already teaches that the signs of the end of the world, when the earthquakes and then also the war become the world is getting chaos, and that's a sign of the end of the world. Yeah. And then so here, because of the judgment day is coming, so we must do it before he comes to the earth, or before the judgment day is coming. And they become a very radical. And the Sunni, they have Al-Qaeda, right? And then the Shia, they have a jihad, right? So I don't want to take a lot of time. If you read it, you'll understand. But basically, the eschatology is not as well developed as we Christian eschatology. Yeah. So let's move on, and the expansion of that.
Question, Dr. Kim.
Okay, go ahead.
When you say not as developed, can you elaborate maybe one or two things that you think is not developed?
Well, we do have, like we Christian doctrine, we do have pre-millennium, post-millennium, and then also our millenniums, and then pretty much talk about, it developed, right? Yeah. So what is a pre-millennium, post-millennium? And even the, what is that, dispensationalist, they are also eschatology. So we Christian groups, we developed For the Muslims, very, very simple. Does it make sense to you?
Oh, you mean among the Christian community? But I mean, biblically versus the Quran, you know, we are more developed, the biblical versus the Quran. Is that what you mean also?
Yeah, we are more developed because we do have a New Testament, right? But they don't have a New Testament, right?
I see.
Okay. We do have a book of Revelation, but they don't have it.
Oh, okay.
They have an Old Testament. They are 5 books in Old Testament. So mainly they concentrate about Old Testament. So
sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Also the expansion. This is the Muslim strategy. When they spread Islam, it's not a new phenomenon. They do have the IRICI, 5 strategy. One is incubation. When the Muslim comes and they are minority, right? And then they are so quiet and nice, and so nice and gentle. Yes. And like Muslim students, teachers, professors. Yeah, they are so nice. And like in Korea, oh, these Muslims are so nice. So Korean girls loves them. The Muslim men, because they have also a lot of money too. So it's crazy. Women are I don't know. The man who has already have 2 wives in the Saudi Arabia and come to the Korea, and these young girls love him and then be a concubine or something. Oh, yeah, crazy. But when they are minority, they are so nice. Incubation and incubate, right? And then try to make it grow, right? And the second is the recognition. So when they have a more Muslim people gather together, or get married, and then his whole family become the Muslim, and children, wife, and the neighbors came and they get together. So they are recognized in the community. Oh, that family is so nice. Yes. Still, they are very nice. And the third phase is infiltration. And then now, when they have enough recognition and enough people, then they try to create their own, some kind of organizations, and then infiltrate to the community, like a Christian community or Indonesian community or other, the religious groups also. Yeah. Then once they got more power, then the confrontation. Now they fight, and they try to, stand up, and then finally, in position, they ruled that community. That's a 5 stage. That's a Muslims 5 stage, and yeah, so far in Korea, that Muslims are so nice. They are still incubation stage. They are not really recognized by the whole community, but someday they might, because more Muslims come now, not just Saudi Arabia, but from the Egypt and also Bangladesh. Oh, so many Muslims from Bangladesh too. Yeah. So anyway, that in Africa also. How do you think in Uganda, which stage is that, for the Muslims? I think the Muslims incubation stage is over already, and then already recognized. I think that
position now.
Uganda is maybe number 3.
Almost. They have infiltrated every sector.
So how about like number 3 stage or infiltration?
It's both mixed up of number 3 and 4.
Number 3 and 4. Oh.
Is here. They are in the sectors, demanding for more political positions.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, America is similar. Now, this time that couple of Muslims, they become a Congress women, I think, men and women, something like that. But yeah, they are now that recognize that they are in the community. Not only that, they come into the community and influence the community, and then even become the House. I think they're not a senator, but a couple of House representatives. Yeah. How about Indonesia? Indonesia is already in position, right? Muslim controls, right? Yeah. So
yes, Pastor. Indonesia is already conquered. I mean, in position.
In position, yeah. How about the Sister Ruth? How about the Singapore? What the Muslim does?
Actually, for the Singapore one, they are also quite, they are okay, because Singapore, right, for the government, they are very strict on respecting each other's religious. So usually we don't really approach them or whatever, So I guess maybe the cultural and then also the systems here, we don't really we just respect one another. When we want to preach to them, right? Or we want to preach to other religion, I think our consensus is very clear. We just want to glorify Jesus. We just tell our testimony for them, why we know Jesus, why we want that. We don't really, comment about their religion.
No.
So we also do,
what I mean is that what the Muslims' role in Singapore, how much they influence the Singapore. What I mean is, do you have any politicians among the Muslims?
Yes.
Yeah.
We do have, because like I said, Singapore is a multicultural country. So even you look at the government, even our president is also a Muslim. So we don't demean one another. Yeah. So that is why I said this is actually very open, very free. And then also because we have strict regulations to say that we don't condemn or demean other religions. So we are very careful about that. We just have the understanding and consensus that we respect each other. Yeah. So when we preach, we are very clear. We just need to glorify Jesus and tell us like our testimony, and it is really up to them. And then because we believe that the Holy Spirit are the one who's do the conviction, so we just do our best to share the gospel to them. So this is how we work like in Singapore. Yeah. And actually, we also need to be very, very careful with all the restriction. So that is why we also like have many good friends who are not Christian, right? So we also share them. But the main thing is we don't condemn, we don't talk about the faults or whatever religion is that. Yeah. So that is why we have
how many percentage of the Christians in Singapore? Because Muslim population is about 15%. How about the Christians?
I'm not very sure. I didn't really work out. I didn't really see her like what is the percentage. I haven't really do the research yet.
Okay. So that maybe the Singapore is between 3 and 4 stages.
I think we can check from the website. Yeah, I think we can check the website. Definitely we can gain a perspective, because I think when they talk about Christian, they actually separate the Catholics and the Christians, in a different category. Yeah. So, but that one is it's not difficult to find out like how many percent on this thing. But like I said, we reiterate the love and concerns for each religion, and we respect each other religion. So that is how we do it in Singapore. This is how we do it. Yeah. So we are very careful. Even the speakers that we invited last time, we are talking about last time. Now it's quite difficult. Like last time when we invited like speakers from overseas, we are also very, very careful. We need to write it down, to let them know that we don't, we just talk about our faith and share with them. Yeah, this is how we do it now. So like then that makes it very inclusive, and let's make it like, it's easier for us to approach them, and they don't see us like, oh, you're coming to tell me about Jesus again, that type of thing. It's not offended. If not, it becomes very, sometimes it can become an argument. So this is not what we really want. We want to approach in a very soft approach. Yeah, this is how we do it in Singapore.
Okay.
Not only for for all religion. It's not only like for one region. We have so many, right? We have so many people, gathering in Singapore. Cosmopolitan, I always say. Yeah.
Yeah. Uganda is maybe a very good example, I think. So if anybody that who in this field, maybe it's good for your research project also, because the Muslims come by the merchants, right? No missionaries. When they come, the merchants, they sell the things, and then they talk about Muslims, and then Ugandan people love that Muslim because, well, man rules women like that, right? Or even the king likes that, right? So that eventually now Uganda is, well, someone said that already stage 4 and 5. Wow, 4 stage, yeah. But let's see why and how. This is the strategy and reason for the spread of Islam is there are many factors and contribute to the spread of the Islam before the 1258. One is the aspect of the culture. As the very core of the Islamic faith was the principle of unity, the pilgrim to Mecca and the ritual of prayer and 5 times a day fostered the community feel and was able to bridge difference between cultures. Yeah. So that this Muslims, the way they pray, and then also the pilgrimage and these kind of things make a unity in a culture. Yeah. So also the cultural prominence of the Arabic world through immense architecture and then scientific and medical breakthroughs. Muslims, they have a good medicine in the beginning. Yeah. Before we have a good medical hospitals, Muslims, they have good medicines. And then also Muslims, they do have the good, how they call this, something make a good metals and this kind of good merchants. They are good merchants, Yeah. And the various agreements. Muslims kind of, in the beginning, they are very friendly with cultural matters. They try not to fight each other. So they tolerate religious sufferings also. It's amazing that when the Muslims after conquer that the Byzantine, we'll see it later, but they allow the Christians still worship Christian God, worship Jesus. Usually the Christians, when they conquer a certain country, then they press to believe in God, believe in Jesus, but Muslims allowed. And the military effectiveness, military effectiveness is so different from other religion. One hand Quran, the other hand the sword. In the beginning is so nice, but once they got a power, leave it, otherwise, and they just so their military was very strong, and we see that how they impact to the world. Let's see the timeline of conquest of expansion. 570 AD, Muhammad is born. Right? So Muhammad was what, 570 years younger than Jesus, right? 610, according to Muslim belief, at the age of 40, he is taught, and then, that to start the receive the message from God. And 622, because he shared his own vision in Mecca, and the people in Mecca at the time, they believed in multi-gods. And then he talked about the monotheism, the one God, and he got so hard time in Mecca, and finally ran away to Medina. And then, in 622, he was in Medina, and then he got followers, and then eventually they go back to the Mecca and conquer the Mecca. In 628, the Battle of Kaaba is very important because that's Jewish ruled the city, and now the Muslims, the Muhammad conquered the city. In 630, Muhammad returns Mecca, and eventually all its citizens accept Islam. So whole Mecca city become a Muslim city. And then he died in 633, but before he died, he sent spies to Jerusalem, Byzantine, Persia, Sasanic Empire, Iraq, etc. And then Abu Bakr, Muhammad's father-in-law and the close associate, elect as a caliph successor. And then Abu Bakr was assassinated in 634. In 636, because of the threat of a Muslim Byzantine emperor, Heraclius launched a major expedition to regain the lost territory, but his army was defeated decisively at the Battle of Yarmouk in August 636. Because by this time, all the Saudi Arabia, that the Arabian, the peninsula, become Muslim. The most of the population, the most of people live near the ocean side, but middle, that's desert area. We cannot. But anyway, doesn't have much resistance. So all the Saudi Arabia, the Arabian, the peninsula, no battle, right? No friction, just accept a Muslim, something like that. And then 638 to 647 conquered Egypt, and Byzantine controlled North Africa. At the time, like Somalia, also the Morocco, and these Christian countries become Muslim. And conquered Mesopotamia, Syria, Egypt. Egypt fell in 642 and had invaded Armenia, which was tribute to territory of Byzantine. So Sasanic, also Sasanian Empire. You know that the Sasanian Empire, right? After Persia was conquered by Greek, and then later on that they become loosened, and then some tribes, they against and revolt to Rome, and then Sasanic Empire started, and then all the Persian Empire, the groups growing also. So Sasanian Empire is actually from Caucasus Mountains, and nowadays like near Iran. 651, Sasanian Empire was followed by Byzantine and the Muslims. And most of the territories were absorbed by the Muslims. Byzantine is getting weak. 661, Imam Ali is killed, bring to the end of the rule of the four rightly guided caliphs. Why this important is now, so far even Sunni Muslims and the Shia Muslims, even though they disagreed, but when they fight against I mean, they expanded their territory. They cooperate together, but from that point, they separate. 672, Muslims are defeated at Poitiers in France by Charles Martel. This is very important. Muslims, they never defeated by any other countries. This is the first one, 732, by the France. So Muslims, they come so quickly, but now it's a start. In 750, the Abbasids take over rule from the Umayyads, shifting the seat of the power to Baghdad. Yeah. And then 765, a school of medicine is established in Baghdad. So the Baghdad is the Shia center. And then also 800 to 1100, Arabs established the regular trade caravans from across northern Africa. They gradually extended the route across the Sahara Desert into West African kingdoms. So Mali and Ghana, and so that the Muslims coming down Africa from the north to the south. And the 1055, Seljuk-Turks, who are Muslims, composed living in Central Asia. So Seljuk-Turks come down to Asia, Central Asia, and eventually come to China too. And in India also. And 1096, Crusade began, and Pope Urban II of Rome calls. So we know that you know that the Crusade, right? Try 7 times. Eventually, 1099, European Crusade took over Jerusalem. It took 3 years. When we covered that crusade, we learned that. In the beginning, they went so fast, but when they come and then recovered the Ephesus, and they split, and they fight, and they cooperate with Byzantine, and eventually separate. That's why it took so long time to 1099. 3 years. So actually, when they marched to Jerusalem, the Muslims in Jerusalem, they are very weak, easy to conquer Jerusalem anyway in the beginning. But Islam continues to spread throughout Asia. Malaysian traders interact with Muslims who teach them about Islam. So Malaysia, people in Malaysia, they traveled well, I think. And then because of the location, the merchants, they are the ones who become Muslims, and they spread the Muslims to their own people. And Mongols in 1258 setbacks at Baghdad, killing the Caliph and many Muslims, and 1291 end of Crusades. Because they once they conquered Jerusalem, they must keep that. But in Christians, we cannot go stay longer. So they withdraw kind of. That's why it become like that. In 1299, the Ottoman dynasty started. And why the Ottoman dynasty started is important is because they are the ones, they conquered the Byzantine Empire. And still we call the Ottoman Turkey. So Turkey that now they call the Turkey anyway. The Ottoman Turkey come from here because the name person Osman. That's why we call the Ottoman Turkey. But they are the ones who conquered the Byzantine. Byzantine fell. So that's East Rome ended in 1453. the West Rome was 459. So almost 1,000 years longer than West Rome. Later, the Ottoman Empire set to the conquer territories from these rivals, Cyprus and the Greek islands. So now they go to the Mediterranean seas, the islands, and then also go to the European countries. Yeah. And 1520 through 1566, the magnificent rules as a sultan of the Ottoman Empire and increased its territory. The empire reaches its peak in culture, but ended by then World War I. Yeah. 1800, approximately about 30% of Africans forced into slavery into the United States. They are the Muslims. Yeah, Muslims from Africa, America. Yeah. In 1924, World War I ends with the defeat and the dissolution of the Ottoman Empire. Yeah. So you can read these things, but important thing is that the Jerusalem was fallen very easily without much fighting, and the Muslims they conquered Jerusalem in early age because they are the ones who are against the Christians, and then they fight against the Christians. That's why that the Jerusalem was the center of the Christianity, actually origin. That's why they conquered earlier. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ruth. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So today's lecture is here. So do you have any question, please, so far? Yeah. So we cannot deal with all the details because so long history, but one thing is so sure, the Muslim militant is very strong, and then also they have a really good time. That the chance was because Byzantine, they have a struggle. You know these things. After the Constantine, he built a new city named after him, Constantinople, and now we call the Istanbul, right? Then Rome fell in 459, and then so but the East Rome, which is centered by Constantinople, they changed the name to Byzantine and still survived. Then the original the Rome was conquered by the Bavarians, actually Germans, not just the German, but Germans. Germans are all over the Europe. Then the Salome, the dynasty started, and the king Salome, the king, his first name, the Charles IV, right? The Pope crowned him, and wow, you are the emperor of a whole this European country. And now all the Rome commit sin too much, kill Christians too much. So you are the emperor of the new holy Rome. And then now you cleanse all the blood. So until millennium comes, it was 800 AD. Yeah. So now this holy new Roman Empire want to control this Byzantine. especially the Pope does that. And Pope sent the spies and weakened this Byzantine kingdom, Byzantine Empire. So it's pretty much weak. And then also Sasanic Empire started in the Caucasus Mountains and come down to Iran. And then this Sasanian Empire is getting bigger. And then impact that this Byzantine Empire. And the Byzantine Empire now from the Holy New Roman Empire and the Sasanic Empire squeezed the Byzantine. And so Byzantine is just weak, getting weaker and weaker. Now the Muslims doesn't have much power to fight back, but they just survived. Even the Crusaders come, and in the beginning they joined together, but the Byzantine Empire, the emperors found out, oh no, our enemies here, not to go to Jerusalem. And so they split. Yeah. And then the major thing why they do is the new Holy Roman Empire. Now the Pope and the emperors, they're fighting each other, but still the Pope want to gain more power, and the Pope think that he is the spiritual leader of everywhere, even though he's the Rome. So you, emperor of Byzantine, you are under me. Like that. So no, that's why he sent the spies and despised the emperor. So the Byzantine kingdom was getting weaker and weaker. And Muslims took that chance. Yeah, so it said, but also Muslims, they are very nice in the beginning. They allowed that the Christian worship, even after they conquer. So you know what I'm talking about, they are tolerate for these kind of things. That's why the way they expand quicker, faster. Yeah. So do you have any question, please?